The birth of Rahula and Siddhartha's shaken heart. Buddha story. According to the tradition, near the time when Prince Siddhartha was moving closer to leaving the palace, Yasodhara gave birth to a son. The palace was filled with joy, and King Suddhodana was deeply happy that an heir had been born. But in the middle of that joy, Siddhartha's heart stood before an even deeper question. As he looked toward his beloved wife and his newborn son, he felt how precious life was. And at the same time, he saw that even the most precious life could not escape aging, sickness, and death. Today's story begins on a quiet night inside the palace of Kapilavastu. When the cry of a newborn child was heard, that night, the palace was more careful and more restless than usual. Servants moved softly through the halls, and quiet voices passed from room to room. Yasodhara had endured a long and difficult time, and everyone waited for good news to come. Outside the palace, the night wind moved gently over the city, while lamps glowed in the dark. For King Suddhodana, the birth of this child was not only a family joy. He hoped this child would hold Siddhartha more firmly inside the palace. The king had never forgotten the old prophecy. Long ago, the sage Asita had said that Siddhartha would become a great universal king if he stayed in worldly life. But if he left home to seek the truth, he would become an awakened one. Because of this, the king tried to protect his son from the sorrow of the world. He surrounded Siddhartha with beauty, music, gardens, comfort, and royal pleasure. He hoped that if the prince saw only happiness, his heart would remain in the palace. But Siddhartha's heart had already begun to change. He had seen an old man. He had seen a sick person. He had seen a dead body. And he had seen a calm renunciant walking quietly on the road. After seeing these four sights, Siddhartha could not return to his old way of seeing the world. The palace was still beautiful, but its beauty no longer hid the truth from him. The music was still sweet, but he could hear the silence that came after the music ended. The flowers were still bright, but he knew they would fade. Questions kept rising in his heart. Why must one who is born grow old? Why must this body become sick? Why must those who meet one day separate? Is there truly no way beyond this suffering? Then, one day, the news came. Yasodhara had given birth to a son. Soon, the palace was filled with joy, and people congratulated one another. The small and fragile cry of the child announced that a new life had entered the world. King Suddhodana was greatly pleased. To him, this child looked like the future of the royal family. He may have thought that now Siddhartha had become a father, he would not easily leave the palace. He may have felt that the bond of family had become stronger. Then the call of the unknown path. When Siddhartha heard the news, many feelings arose in his heart. There was joy, there was wonder, there was tenderness, and there was also a deep trembling that he could not easily explain. A small life, connected to him by blood and love, had now come into the world. The thought of this child softened his heart, but it also made his question even heavier. According to the tradition, Siddhartha quietly said words with this meaning. A bond has been born. At first, these words may sound cold. They may sound as if Siddhartha did not love his son. But when we listen more deeply, we can hear sorrow and truth inside them. Siddhartha was not shaken because he lacked love. He was shaken because his love had become even deeper. When we love someone, their smile becomes our joy. Their pain becomes our pain. Their future becomes something we worry about in the quiet places of the heart. The more Siddhartha thought of his newborn son, the more clearly he saw the beauty of life. But he also saw that this beautiful life would one day meet aging, sickness, separation, and death. He may have thought quietly within himself, this child will grow. This child will smile, walk, speak, and love. This child will be held by many hopes. But this child too will not be free from the law of change. The body that is born must grow old. The body that is strong may become sick. The people who are close may one day be separated. Even a beloved child cannot be protected from every sorrow of the world. This thought did not make Siddhartha love Rahula less. It made his love more serious. He began to ask what he could truly give to his son. Was the greatest gift a kingdom? Was it wealth, power, and comfort? Or was the greatest gift a path that could lead beyond suffering? That night, the palace continued to celebrate. Yasodhara held the child close to her. Rahula breathed softly beside his mother. To anyone looking from the outside, the scene must have seemed peaceful and beautiful. But Siddhartha had already seen that even peaceful scenes do not last forever. Beautiful things change. Young bodies grow old. Those who are near may one day become far away. The world that looked safe was not truly safe from impermanence. Siddhartha did not wish to reject his family. He loved Yasodhara. He was moved by the birth of Rahula. He knew the warmth of family life, and he did not treat it as something empty or meaningless. But because he loved deeply, he could no longer call temporary comfort the final answer. If he stayed in the palace, could he truly protect them? If he became a king, could he save his loved ones from aging, sickness, and death? If he gave his son a throne, would that be enough when the heart still suffered? These were not easy questions. No one in the palace could answer them for him. And perhaps no one around him could fully understand the pain of his heart. To those who wanted him to stay, his silence may have looked distant. But inside that silence, a great compassion was beginning to grow. The birth of Rahula seemed like the final bond that tied Siddhartha to worldly life. Yet later, Rahula would not remain only a symbol of attachment. He would become known as the son of the Buddha and, in time, a disciple on the path of practice. So this story does not end only with the feeling of being bound. It also shows that love can be transformed into a wider compassion. Love can hold us. Love can make us afraid to lose. Love can make the world feel more fragile. But love can also open the heart beyond the small circle of mine and yours. It can lead us to ask how all beings may find peace. Siddhartha's trembling heart was not a sign of weakness. It was the sign of a heart that refused to look away. He saw his own child, and through that child, he saw every child. He saw his own family, and through that family, he saw all beings who love, suffer, age, and separate. In the palace that night, there were two kinds of light. One was the warm light of celebration for the newborn child. The other was the quiet light of a question growing inside Siddhartha's heart. Most people could see the first light. Almost no one could yet see the second. Yasodhara held Rahula in her arms. The palace rested under the night sky. And Siddhartha stood before the deepest question of his life. In front of the family he loved, his question did not become weaker. It became deeper. This is how the story of Rahula's birth and Siddhartha's shaken heart quietly comes to a close. This story reminds us that love can make the heart both tender and brave. Sometimes we want to stay because someone is precious to us. And sometimes, because someone is precious to us, we begin to seek a deeper and truer path. May the trembling places in your own heart slowly become a doorway to wisdom, compassion, and a wider peace.